I've been on the run for quite some time now. Somebody is after me. I swear I can still hear them following me, just out of sight. I'm beginning to run out of options. I have nowhere else I can hide at this point. I figured the least I can do before this thing can get me is tell my story. A while back, I began to be stalked. Every night, I would get this feeling like I was being watched. But when I turned around, there's nothing there. I'd look out my window at night, expecting to see some creep watching me from a distance. Still, nothing. Finally, I decided I couldn't take it anymore. I went to the local Walmart and purchased a security camera. You know, the kind you can pull up footage on your smartphone with. I get this camera. The first night was as expected. Nothing showed up. Second night, nothing. Third night, you guessed it, nothing to be seen. It wasn't until the very next week I would notice something strange on the camera footage. One night, coming home from work, I decided to pull up the footage from the previous night. Upon looking at it, I saw a man approach the tree behind my house. His slender figure was barely distinguishable in the grainy footage. He was tall. I mean, really, really tall. I'm not exaggerating when I say he must have been 6'9" at least. Worst of all, he was looking directly at the camera. It was creeping me the fuck out. Some weirdo, I thought to myself, trying to play it off. Truly though, I was terrified. Ever since the incident, I've made sure to keep all the doors locked at night, as well as close and lock all the windows. I was getting ready for bed the next night when I jumped at the sight on my camera. This guy was directly in front of it, damn near blocking the entire view. It was mere inches away from it. What the fuck? I said as I dropped my phone and hurried to look outside where he was. He must have anticipated this. Because why was he looking right up at me? My bedroom certainly isn't ground level. God, how did he even know I was going to that window? Oh, to hell with this. I grabbed my shotgun out of the safe, loaded it up, and bolted down the stairs. Busting out of my front door, I quickly turned the corner with my gun in hand, aimed outwards. I made it to where my camera was, but the man was already gone. There was nobody out here. I almost froze in place, listening to the silence out there. It was eerily quiet. Still had that nagging feeling that somebody was watching me. I slowly backed up towards the entrance of my home, locking the door back as I entered. Upon entering, I felt the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. I felt his presence more than ever now. As the house security alarm went off, I quickly turned around but saw nobody there once again. I rushed to disable the alarm, started to search the house, still armed. As always, I came up short. I no longer felt safe at home. I ran outside, closing the door behind me, and started up my car. I sped off, leaving tire marks all over my driveway. I had to get away from that guy as fast as possible. I didn't even care if I got a ticket for the ludicrous speed I was going at this point. Some lunatic had broken into my home and had been stalking me, possibly wanting to kill me. I continued to drive through the city and ended up on an old highway on the back roads on the outskirts of town. I was now surrounded by dense forests and wildlife. Somehow this was much more comforting than dealing with that psychopath. It was a dark night and I was on a long road. I turned on the radio, trying to calm myself down. It didn't work very well. Suddenly, the radio made weird noises, like it was trying to tune itself or something. Within seconds, it exploded with high-pitched static, followed by a voice within it.
I know what you did.
I slammed on my brakes and pulled over with my right hand covering my ear. I practically punched the radio controls until finally it ceased with the noises. My ears were bleeding and I could barely compose myself. Now I had to drive with no radio and no guidance. I had no idea where I was going. I didn't know where was safe anymore. It felt like I was being hunted. Come on, man, get it together, I said to myself. It's not
you can't
real.
hide forever, Mark.
The voice spoke once more. What the fuck? No, I turned the radio off.
You can't stop me.
Who are you? Why are you doing this?
I know the answer to that, Mark. You know exactly who I am. You know what you did.
I don't know what you're talking about. Please, leave me
I
alone.
can't do that, Mark. Not until you've paid for what you did.
What do you want from me?
I've already told you. You must pay.
Silence struck my car in that moment as the radio once more turned itself off. I was full of fear and anxiety. I expected the man to jump out from the back seat and slit my throat right then and there, but nothing happened. I began to think I was losing my sanity, but this theory soon evaporated. After a few minutes of stewing in my own fear, I began to hear rustling of leaves coming from the forest edge. I put the car in gear and drove off. I drove for hundreds of miles without stopping, hoping I could distance myself from this entity that stalked me relentlessly. Periodically, I'd see him on the side of the road, waving at me. All I could make out of his face was his teeth, curling into a grin. The rest of him seemed to be embodied by a cloud of black smoke. I knew it was him, though. He was tall, really tall, and skinny. I recognized him now. I killed him 3 years ago. A hit and run.